This is Crypto Osukimi. This is my next video. I just want to cover some market sentiment thoughts, just some of my basic thoughts, and cover the weekly close on a video instead of a chart. And give you, just a little something different. I kind of feel like a chart right now. All right, so actually I'm in the wrong chart. I'll just get started here. So I'm going to cover Bitcoin. I'm going to cover Ethereum for sure. I want to cover Litecoin because I feel like there's a good chance that it may be in a different place than some of the other alts right now. Sorry. Okay. And then if I have time, check out Cardano Bat Token 0x. Although I'm not as interested in those at the moment. All right. So I'm actually in the wrong chart. So the Coinbase chart. Um. So just a brief overview. So prior to the drop, prior to 6K, even though the low was 5,700, everybody's still obsessed with 6K. We had this breaker here, and it bounced on the EQ, bounced on the bottom, tried to keep going, couldn't even make it above this EQ, and then it failed. And if that's very familiar, that's all trader main stuff that I've picked up on. I really enjoy. It's really made a lot of sense. It's more complicated than that, but that's the gist of it. So anyway, we were fighting basically since late June. And you could probably see here I took all my EMAs off. The indicators are here, but even the volume, I'm just kind of doing it plain for now. I'll add all that later. So last week we dropped, and we dropped to 5,200 more or less. I just don't like that red. Anyway, and then next week we just continued to drop. We didn't even go back up. Didn't even try. Nobody's just interested in buying right now because we finally broke that 6K. I mean, nobody's really been interested since end of July almost. And why wouldn't they be? I mean, there's so many bad things have been happening. Uh, so many things have been called out as scams, or we went on a parabolic run, and there's this thing that we don't. It doesn't make sense to go below 6K. Well, it does, and it's here. And personally, in some ways, it sucks, and I'm not happy about it. But mostly, I am happy about it because I've had this whole year to prepare for this. I was very naive around this last candle. I mean, this last parabolic candle. No, I'm sorry. The second to last parabolic candle is when I joined. So I joined pretty close to the top. um, and that weekly candle, closed at 15,300 on the Coinbase chart. So I've had this entire time to get wrecked, to learn from my mistakes, get wrecked again, learn from my mistakes, learn strategies, unfollow people that just don't know or care what's going on. I get it. Like some of the people, a lot of the people that I'm talking about are people that have, they've been around, 2 to 4 years. They've been through the bull run. People that have been here for 2 years. I have no disrespect for anybody. I really don't. But people that have been here for a long time, 2 years plus, in my opinion, is a long time for crypto. Um, have made so much money in the past that they did cash out early, or they cashed out within the first month of this going down, or they didn't cash out at all, and they have so much money they don't really care. So they post memes after memes after memes and jokes, 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 and I mean it's fine. I don't have anything problem. I don't have a problem with any of that, and I have no disrespect for them, but that's not what I'm here for. I was not born into the crypto market 2 or 3 years ago. I was born into the market 2 weeks before it dropped, and 1 week before its all-time high. So for me, I entered with a different mentality, different mindset, different environment, different culture almost. Um, and I learned through it. Like I just kept it going, and now we're here. I just at one point, like I think it even really took me all the way to April where I realized, hey, like we're not getting anywhere at any time soon. And then we did have this chance to go slowly up, but that's it's just, well, one, it's not happening, but it wasn't realistic either. So anyway, we just gotta take the market as it gives it to us. Just the cycle that it brings, the trend that it brings. We're in a very heavy, we're in a very heavy bear market right now. I mean, really, we have been all year. Because even these bounces, I mean, we really didn't make. I mean, we didn't make a higher low at all, or a higher high at all. So, I mean, we kind of wicked here a little bit, but it doesn't really count. So, I mean, we haven't gone anywhere, and it's been almost 12 months. I mean, it's been, if you want to start in January, it's been 11 months, almost a full 11 months. So anyway, still in the bear market, still got to deal with this. That being said, that brings us to this past week that closed. You got a big volume candle, you got a big candle. Stronger reaction towards the bottom here for a bounce. Got a wick about a quarter of the candle. Not necessarily convinced of any bullish movement just yet. I think we could see a neutral week this week. We could probably fluctuate, between, we're at 39.67 right now. I mean, we could probably fluctuate between 3,800 to 4,200 for a week. And that's a big swing now. Because $40 is one move, I guess. So I don't know. For the moment, I'm not necessarily convinced that we're gonna go up back to this 5100. And not entirely convinced we're gonna go below 5400 either. This is where we run into a little more of a contested area. Let's see. So what I'm doing is I'm measuring the top of this to the bottom of this. So I measure that right there. So we have a middle range of 3,200. So I could see us going down to 3,200 this week. Not entirely convinced if we go lower just yet. I mean, the buyers are starting to come in a little bit, not a lot. It's not very convincing. So we'll see. I mean, we haven't had a bullish closing week in 6 weeks. So which I'm seeing right here on the middle of October. So that's kind of what I'm eyeballing for a low right now is 3,200. A lot of people are thinking 1K, or I mean, obviously we're not going down here. I don't know why there's even a negative on the chart, but anyway, what do we have? For support options, we have we do have the bottom of this, which we did wick through. Let me turn that to a different color. So we have that at 3670. Another one we have right here is 3000. And let me get rid of these. Oh, got rid of the wrong one. Alright, another one we have is 3669. So, for this bottom one, we did touch this as resistance. We did break through, and then did a retest on a wick. So, do I know what the bottom is going to be? No, I don't. Do I think it's going to be either one of these two levels? I don't know. And I think the point right now, well, one, I mean, really, and I've seen this kind of go around, and it makes sense. I mean, we're not gonna know until like after it's too late to trade it. Like we, just like 19,500 was the top, and most people didn't know it was the top. I mean, there's a few people that called it and that are still around, today. But I don't necessarily know. Like, I'll be honest, I just don't know where the bottom is. I mean, these are just some of my thoughts. But this is a good support. I mean, and we did retest this successfully. We're not in this area. We are wicked. So I do think that this could hold for now. Because I mean, when price movement goes up, you get buyers that come step in and buy the asset, and that's going to be where people are going to take. I mean that's where the liquidity is, and that's why we're seeing these big drops. Is because we didn't have any test here of buys. I mean, we had buys, we just didn't have it tested. So I mean, we went up straight, you know, from mid-September to beginning of November almost. So no problem whatsoever. We had one week candle down, and then we went up another one. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got 11 candles out of 12. 11 out of those 12 weeks was just straight bull run, and that's just amazing. That's why people were talking about it. Is you really couldn't go wrong. I mean, no matter what you traded, unless you just didn't trade at all, or you traded too much, or whatever. Now we're seeing Now we're seeing the opposite. We're seeing lots of selling because there's nothing that was tested, and we just need to test this out. So anyway, I see this as a good area, mainly because it engulfs so much here, but also because this wick was a retest of here. So I think this could be stronger than we might realize. Um, you know, we could see a break, and if we do, this is my next go-to is right almost exactly at 3,000. And then finally the next support would be 1911. But I mean, we did break this, and then we retested, but we didn't. I mean, you could keep going with this, and this is one of these things. Like, I don't. Everybody's got their different viewpoints on this. From a TA standpoint, we didn't even retest 1200, 1300. Am I saying we are going to 1300? I don't know. Honestly, I think that would be really cool. Not to scare anybody, but I mean, that would be. I'd be buying a lot. I would be probably buying a lot anything lower than 2,000. So we'll see. and that could be very unrealistic. But we also thought going under 6,000 was unrealistic. Most of us did, and excuse me. So we'll see. I mean, right now I'm eyeballing, 3,700 for a weekly low, followed by 3,000, 1,900, and then 1,300. Also, yeah. So let's do the opposite for a top for the week. 46.30. It's kind of what I'm eyeballing right now, which is the resistance point of what we just fell through, and we fell through it pretty quickly. And a lot of people are wondering, is this capitulation? Is it not? I've seen some people. I've seen a good buddy of mine on crypto Twitter saying that this isn't capitulation because the volume doesn't match up, or comparative to the drop. Some people think it is. And honestly, I'm pretty neutral on this. Because when you hear the word capitulation, you think about the Wall Street cheat sheet. Um, Obviously, and you got capitulation, you got anger, you got depression, um, and I think there's a lot of factors that play into this, and that kind of goes into this 1,300. Like, are we ever going to go down here? Because technically, we never retested it. I mean, do you have to retest every single support and resistance? Um, and that's hard to. On one hand, I want to say yes because that's kind of what the rules imply, but look at look at certain indexes on the stock market. Look at just look at Bitcoin. It's a speculative asset, um, that has multiple parabolic runs that has retraced about this time. About 85%. Um, so do we have to go back down that low? We'll see. This is just the supports that I see um, taking place. So I'm eyeballing 46 as a possible high, and 36. No, 46 is a high, 36 is a low. Um, and so for the capitulation thing, um, I almost. Oh, I have no idea what I just did. Okay, that's better. My original guess, my original thought process, and this was back, at beginning of February, that I thought this was capitulation here. Um, that initial drop down to the bottom of this block, and this keeps going down. This is our anger stage. This is our depression stage, and it's hard to gauge because people, I'd say most of us, if not all of us, are familiar with crypto Twitter, and we're a very different breed. I would say, even whether we know what we're doing or if we don't, because we are retail trade. Most of us are retail traders, but we're yeah, and as retail traders, we are susceptible to the same emotions and mistakes and successes and et cetera, et cetera. But we're a little different as we are a little more embedded in this space. And I say that is because we're not probably not going to be as affected as other people. Um, that being said, capitulation is a state to which um, capitulation isn't meant to be a place where you hold on. It's meant to be a place where you get out, and that's a good thing. You want to get out. That's the whole point of it, and that's not to quit crypto, but that is to save save your capital. Um, and I think that's very confusing to some people, that capitulation is meant to, get rid of weak hands, and that's not. I don't interpret that, at least. My interpretation of that is my capital is my positions are suffering too much to risk anything, so I need to get out. Um, so, with that being said, is this a characteristic of capitulation? I'd say yes. Um, I say this is looking a lot more like it. Um, so, as far as what we'll see the rest of this week, um, my get you know my top target is 4600. My low target is 3600. So anyway, let's go back. Let's just go top down. We'll go to the 3 day. Excuse me. Um, so as you can see, excuse me. Sorry. So we did wick through that that support target of 3670, and we are currently on that candle. Today's the 24th. Oh, I'm always confused what days. So it's the 25th. Um, so, sorry. I'm always confused on the 3 days, when they end and when they begin, because they're different. So, we still wicked through that. We are wicked pretty good into that. To me, that's a good sign. I mean, nothing at the moment can really be said on the 3 day that I haven't already said on the weekly, and what I could say on the daily. We got the Arun bullish line has bottomed out, which is normally a bad sign. But that so this could either do one or two things. This line could stay as it is, and these could run parallel, and that's very bad. You don't want that to happen at all, because look what the opposite did. This is the bullish line in parallel over the bearish line, and the same day that matched up was pretty much the same day as we started our parabolic run. So if that happens, I mean, we could just now getting started on the parabolic drop. Now the parabolic run, or the parabolic, if there was a parabolic drop, it wouldn't never go as much as this one. But let's see on the trend. See what happened here. I haven't actually checked this, so I'm kind of checking it with you guys. So, see, I mean, I still don't see it dropping that hard. Just match this down here. I have no idea what this is doing. Alright, let's try this again. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, I'm not really sure what I'm doing anyway with that. So I'll just forget it. What I was trying to do was trying to measure and compare to see if it would go down. It seemed that would go up, but pretty sure it won't. Oh gosh. So anyway, that's the 3 day. I forget about that. Let's go to the 1 day. Sorry to kind of just screw around there. 1 day you can see this a little more clear. It tried to rest a little bit here, to no avail. Get rid of this one and this one. And for 1 day, I mean, we got another Darth Maul candle here, and so far we're doing okay. I mean, the daily just we're only 4.5 hours in. and still I'm not yet comfortable using some of my indicators, which sucks because I do use them a lot. But I mean, you gotta. I mean, my indicators are ranging indicators, and this is a heavy downtrend. So until we can get a confirmation of some sort of move, what I would be looking for is a move above 4,200 or above this blue line, so 4240. So that's what I would like to see. Um, thus far, I don't. Let's put all this stuff up. I don't really see that happening as of yet. I mean, even my 9 SMA hasn't even crossed. So um, not I have nothing on the daily that convinces me otherwise. I mean one bullish candle for a daily close. I mean, I'll take it. It's better than nothing. But nothing convincing as of yet. We did have a lot of buyers step in here though. More than we had previously. So that does tell me that there is some sort of shift um, happening. Now, whether that's enough to convince buyers to come in, I don't know. Because here's the thing: it keeps dropping. Nobody's buying. The you can forget about the general media just saying anything really good about it. People still think it's scammy. People are trying to trying to make a stab at you. I mean, I had somebody say a smart aleck remark to me on Twitter, just because I said something just semi positive, like crypto's not going away, and they mentioned, well, you're saying that to convince yourself, and no, of course I'm not saying it to convince myself. I'm just talking about the facts, and like there's a head position at Fidelity, that they're asking for, and that just proves that crypto is not going away, especially over the random course of 2 weeks. I mean, it's just, in fact, I mean, institutions, and even whales know that the cheaper it goes, the better chance they got to buy. It's a fire sale, and they're gonna buy. Um, the question is when, because if this isn't gonna hold, this whole 3,000, if sub 4,000 isn't gonna hold, and right now it's just under 4,000, then I know I can probably get it at 3,500. Or if I can't, I can just wait for a confirmation to go up, and then I can buy it for a little bit higher of a price, but it's guaranteed to go up, or more than likely to go up. So right now it's too much of a gamble, too much of a risk to enter in. I mean, I have entered in. Excuse me. Sorry. Uh, so that being said, a daily is looking decent. I mean, this wick right here. I mean, I know this candle hasn't closed yet, but a little bit of a concern to me. Sellers really haven't brought in yet, but like I said, we're not even 5 hours in. 12 hour, kind of same thing. We got the buyers did come in, but we are getting more exhausted here. That's not necessarily the best sign. And we looks like we're not even really breaking this here. I mean, we're not even breaking a basic trend line or diagonal resistance line. So not a good sign to me. I don't normally do 12 hours, 4 hour. Um, one thing I think we might have going on here for the bulls is that we big sell off here, slightly low but very similar here. We had a bigger drop here, even though the price went down. Uh, Sometimes that does give sign of reversal, and that does depend on the exchange. So I don't want you. I mean, I am on a Coinbase chart. Um, and I can't emphasize enough when people talk about volume and stuff that I'm talking about now is make sure you look at what exchange they're doing, because the more than likely the volume is only for that exchange. So you can get a different reading if you're on Bitfinex or BitMEX or whatever. So this may not necessarily be true because another exchange or exchanges as a whole, there's a collective volume that says otherwise. Um, so keep that in mind. Um, we might be getting across here on the EMAs, and this is the blue is a 7, the red, the blue is a triple moving average of 9, red is a smooth moving average of 7, and the black line is a exponential moving average of 39. And it's something I've been looking at to discover crossover bounces and that. If you do want, I can do a little quick deal here. We did have a cross earlier up here, I think right around here. So that was a drop of 12. Another cross over here, so a drop of 22. So it's been not a little, a lot effective as of late. So you just gotta, and I haven't used the A-Rune in like a week or two. It's, I mean, honestly, I haven't really used it much in a month because it's been pretty unreliable the past 2 weeks I did use it. So you gotta adjust your strategy. I know I really like the A-Rune, and I know I have an audience for it, but you just gotta change it up. So, and I tend to like moving averages because I'm really big into statistics. Anyway, we'll skip 3 hour, 2 hour, we'll go to 1 hour. This is more of a current look. So we had a swing down here, and I've been doing a few different things. What I normally do is, I wait for a big swing down. I look at the candle body. So I take the fib retracement tool and click on the bottom of the body, and I go for the next swing up, and then I cross it over to adjust for that, and this is my range. So this is the range that I do. So let me get rid of some of these. Let's get rid of all of it. So anyway, it's what I do for that. So as you can see, it came down and kind of deviated here, deviated away from the EQ, deviated again. I mean, it got close, deviated back down, so it's a little more inaccurate than it typically has been. What I've been doing, and you can see like it really never even stayed above the middle of this line. So what I've been doing instead is taking that same retracement tool and going from the bottom of this candle body like I was, but instead of going here and doing this, I go to the bottom wick of this block, and that gives me this, a little different. And as you can see, so let's look at this. It retested on the EQ, retested on top of the range. It bounced a little bit, came back through, touched the EQ again, EQ again. The third time on EQ it breaks, which it tends to do on the third time. So that's a lot more accurate. As you can see, it broke, came back down, and retested again. So now we're on this confluence of all these 3 EMAs. So we're gonna probably get something pretty interesting pretty soon. So we'll see what that looks like. It might actually be a drop down. I don't know. So anyway, that's what I've been doing lately. More of a swing low order block of some sorts. Don't really have a name for it. Maybe that's what I'll call it. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing. It's been working pretty decent. Um, so as far as what we got here, we had that test as resistance. We're still getting pretty decent reaction. We have a bearish consolidation on the A rune. The Stotch is kind of ranging a little bit, but going a little more downward, which usually is not a good sign. So there is a chance that we could go down more. I would like to see, probably could see us go back to 3,800. Within, I don't know, within 4 to 6 hours, maybe even less. So yeah, so that's it's kind of the 1 hour dose there. So anyway, we're getting a little bit of reaction, but I'm not convinced as of yet. But I'm also not terribly convinced we're going to go too much lower here. We could retest, 3,600 again. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. Not sure. I think on a bigger candle, this is an engulfing candle. So we could see a retest here. Let's go back to 1 hour to make it a little more obvious. So that's probably what I'm looking at, and that kind of matches similar to what I was drawing. So I'm looking at 37.50. So that's what I would say. Probably dropped to 37.50, and then we'll see from there. So I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, I did buy some. I bought some Litecoin for better or worse. Haven't bought anything else as of late. Primarily because I'm just not convinced. I think paying a little bit higher price for more security is better. Looks like we are about to break this actually. So anyway, but yeah, if I was playing this right now, I'd probably put in a short, to 30. I'd probably wait. Actually, I'd probably wait for this to confirm downward before I put in a short. I probably wouldn't do anything just yet. I just, more conviction would be needed. So anyway, that's a look on Bitcoin. Just kind of my thoughts on that. Let's go ahead. I think I took up a lot of time, but let's go ahead and do Ethereum. So clear that out. So on Ethereum we had another bad week. And it did wick a little bit. Let's see. Sorry, I had my wife come in for a second. So we had quite a bit of sells here. This is a little bit different than Bitcoin. We had the biggest matching sell volume to July of last year, and we moved less than what we did last time. So as far as supports, it could be looking at $89. That's my thought. I'd say For me personally, I mean, if I can get a $90 Ethereum, I think that'd be pretty good. Um, for a range, that's what I'm looking at for a low of the end of this week target. My high would be at my EMA at 127. I think that's a little gutsy at this point. Not really sure what thing. Like I said, I'm not really convinced just yet. Excuse me. So looking at daily, I'm gonna skip the 3 day and 12 hour because I think I'm running out of time a little bit. Um, daily nothing convincing yet. I would honestly just like to get a move up above a bearish candle. I mean, that's all I want right now. Um, things are starting to look like they might turn, but I mean they could range a bit. And indicators don't have to change much. Let's just skip down to the 1 hour. And here we are, almost same position, looking for. We got this confluence of moving averages right here. I mean, if this crosses, we're gonna go down more. So, and honestly, look, we got this. You get resistance here, went down. Resistance here, went down. Resistance here. So, I mean, we're not even. And this is that resistance here is matching this. This resistance here is matching back here. And you can see I didn't even have that on the screen. Excuse me, I didn't have that on the screen and it matched. So that just shows you like how effective support and resistance is, and that's a lot of what I rely on right now, and it's effective. And um, anyway, so that's with that, and we are starting to kind of wick right here. I really don't like to look at current open candles, but we had buying volume. This went up higher with less volume, um, so that could be signs of exhaustion. Too early to tell. I think it's too early to tell either way whether we're going to go down more or whether we're going to continue up. I think right now it's pretty close to 50-50. Wouldn't surprise me either way, and this is why I'd like to wait for a break one way or the other. Um, you know, support or resistance. Let's see how much time I got left. I think I'll do Litecoin, and then I'll just maybe do the other ones on a chart. So we'll do Litecoin. So clear this out. Let's do 1 week. I mean, honestly, like Litecoin's just a very bad chart. It's hanging above 30. And I think I mentioned in a chart on the group that 30 is a pretty good area. So let's mark this over here. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 complete weeks of at 30. So and then it went up. So I don't necessarily think 30 is going to be as easy to break as it will be other places. And a lot of alts right now are halting. Like they're not really going down farther. And we did have some whales that bought a lot of, supposedly had some whales bought. Actually, it was 50 of the top Litecoin wallets bought. Apparently, bought a lot more Litecoin today. Now that could be exchanges, that could be Binance, Coinbase, etc., etc. So, but even then, that could still mean retail traders are buying. So we'll see. But this past, you know, in last May it was 30, and now it's 30 again. So this is reacting a little bit differently than some of the other charts. The log scale just looks horrible. I don't necessarily rely on this. This is more of a trend analysis, so I have high doubts that this is going to go down to $4.56. If it does, I'll probably just um, buy a ton of it unless I just consider it just dead. Um, so I tend to just keep the linear chart going. So as far as staying above 30, I think there's a good chance that it'll stay there. Honestly, I think out of out of definitely Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, I think Litecoin has the biggest chance of being bottomed out. Um, I don't I don't know about Bitcoin Cash. I honestly don't really care too much about Bitcoin Cash. So we'll see. I mean, I think that if we do go lower on Litecoin, this little small bearish candle is what I'm looking at for next support, and you're talking about 15, 17 bucks. So that's roughly half of where we're at now, and if it's half, I mean you're talking a 50% drop, obviously. But I can see that being accumulated really fast. So we'll see. We'll see where we're at. Um, but I do think Litecoin has the biggest chance to be in bottomed out. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying the possibility is there. Excuse me. Daily, not looking terribly healthy, but I mean I'd like to get somewhere here above this. Like I said, I just want another higher high on the daily. That's all I really ask for. Aaron's are bottomed out. Stotch is ready to go up, but doesn't have to. We're still quite a bit of a separation away from these two. Moving average is 17%. Um, so by the time they would even cross bullish, you would have already gained 17% unless it goes down. So I'm thinking they might not even cross till it gets to $32. But buyers have stepped in a little bit. Let's look here. I don't think we can tell too much. I mean, we've had the most buyers here, and this is the Coinbase chart, but the most buyers since April. Let me check something out here. Kind of winging this part. Let's see. I'll do Litecoin dollar. And it isn't really daily. There we go. So, I mean, exchanges as a whole, we've matched the volume from this small green candle from about a week and a half ago. I mean that's the biggest. I mean we had a decent jump here, and that's when we went from 57 to 62. But really haven't had a bigger buy candle since May. So yeah, that matches the Coinbase chart pretty well. Um, so we haven't had this much buying volume for 5-6 months. So it's interesting. Not saying it's the bottom, but buyers are stepping in, and that's good. That's what you want in order for this to continue upward. So we'll see with that. I'll do one more on the hourly, and then I'll have to call this quits. So Aaron is bearish. Stotch is looking like it's going to turn around pretty soon. So I'd say probably a retest of 30.37. And one thing, and I'm still used to like $200, $300 Litecoin. So these small dollar moves, I mean, are like 3%. So like every 30 cents is like 1%, 1%. So use that to advantage. Use that to scalp because volatility is back um, for now. So anyway, um, it's almost kind of barred it up, to be honest. So we'll see. I mean, we got a little, the got some supplies being stacked here. So it's honestly Litecoin is looking like the most supported of the three, to be honest. And that's very interesting because I mean it's tanked all year long. So we'll see on that. But that's just my three um, chart analysis. I covered it way too long, but kind of give you an idea of what my thoughts are, what's going on. So I hope you enjoy this. Let me know if you have any questions or anything else you'd like to see in the future. And that being said, thank you.